All right, we are live. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is 2:25 p.m. Eastern Time. I am hoping you are enjoying your day. My name is Chris, and this is We Love Comics. And we have a quote-unquote unboxing. The person that mailed this charged me a pretty decent amount, but sent it in just a flat rate envelope. So I can't wait to see the condition of the comic. So I guess we will find out. Always love when people charge um, high prices for shipping, and then they ship it in the most minimalistic way out there. But, you can't win them all. But as long as the comic, I guess we'll find out. As long as the comic is safe, that's all I care about. So, while we're waiting for people to see that I am live, I always want to make sure I start out my videos like I do all the time. Give a shout out to my paid Patreon members. If you want to support my channel and not only help my channel, but also help me with the stray cats that I take care of twice a day, every day, getting them spayed, neutered, hospital and vet bills if necessary, etc., etc. If you have the ability to help out at all, you can join patreon.com/. We Love Comics. You'll get your name up and shouted out every single video. I can either shout out your name as it's put on Patreon. Obviously, I won't put out your last name. I won't give out somebody's personal information. But if you'd rather me shout out your social network, your YouTube channel, or you have your own, business and you want me to post your website, just let me know in advance, and I have no problem with doing that. So $2 minimum, which is the minimum for anybody's Patreon account. We'll get your name up there. And if I get up to 20 paid members, I have some giveaways that we're going to give away. So shout out to Sith, Lord, Michael, Kevin, Dan, Herbert, Annabelle, Jason, Kim, Blessed. Then the last ones are all from social networks. So shout out on YouTube, Kendall Kid Comics. Shout out to Instagram at ScottWU077. Shout out on Facebook, Stephen L. Turk author. Check him out. And also, last but not least, check out on Instagram at Silver Age Surfer _comics. So if we can get to 20 paid members within any given month, there are some giveaways. The more people that join, the better the giveaways will be. So we'll see if that happens at some point. Just need 7 people to get that to happen. And as long as they're consistent each month, I'll do a contest every single month. So there is no minimum to enter other than the minimum to join anybody's Patreon, but you'll get one entry for every $2 that you put in. So we got Cohen Graham's here. I don't think I've ever seen you here before. He says, hi, welcome. GT Key Comic. You actually have somebody that got here before you did. One of my moderators. Welcome. And the one, the only, the myth, the legend, Mighty Comics and Collectibles in the house. Good to see you, sir. Hopefully you are doing well and enjoying your Sunday. So, if anybody wants to make any guesses based on the AI art, always keep in mind that I 99.9% of the time will post a image of something that has nothing to do with the comic or the company of the comic. So you can make an assumption with this and think, well, it must be based on a character you're seeing, or you think I'm throwing you off. But it is a Bronze Age key. I did not state whether it was Marvel or DC. There's plenty of Bronze Age keys in both DC and Marvel. So if you want to make your conclusions, leave it in the live chat. Or if you're watching this later, put it in the comments section. Now, one of the things I try and instill in people, because I will, before I mention the price, I'm going to ask you what would be the most you would be willing to pay for this book, which includes shipping and handling fees and taxes, because I'm sure most of you are like me that buy on eBay. What would be the most you pay for it? Now, I don't want anybody to say, well, they see Amazing Fantasy 15, which I wish this was, but that's not Bronze Age anyway. Everybody would love to say, I'd pay $100 for it. Well, who wouldn't? Well, you're not getting a Ferrari for $1,000. You're not getting an AF-15 for $100. Even a page you can't even get for that price. So what I want you to do is I want you all to go on eBay because I want you to do this homework to get used to this so you know how to look for deals. I want you to go on eBay, and when you see the comic, I want you to look at the prices, not only that they're selling for, because anybody can list a comic or anything for sale for any price, but what people have paid for it, and then indicate what would be the price you would have paid at the maximum amount and still feel comfortable with it. So this looks like I'm not going to need my trusty knife. I had to actually tell this person to put them in bags and boards. So there are actually two comics. It looks like they arrived safely. This is the protection, some folded up thin pieces, and some extra backing boards. Oh, look, and a bonus, one extra little bent piece of cardboard. So this person went above and beyond, he said sarcastically. So if anybody wants to make any guesses, by all means, please put it in. Now, this other one is pretty much a throwaway book. So I won't show it at first because then you'll know what the other book is because it'll be the same one. Paradise Comics, good to see you, says, I shudder when I see a comic shipped in those envelopes. Yeah, you and me both, especially when they charged me $15 to have that shipped out. So they did not go above and beyond, but you can't get everybody. Like I said, this was one of those sellers that was showing the comics without even bags and boards. So I actually even had to mention to the person to put them in bags and boards. So just imagine what would have arrived if I didn't tell them to protect it. That's what that person did when I told them, could they please protect them? So I shudder to think what it would have come. I mean, I would have think they would have wrapped them in paper towels and folded them in half and placed them in an envelope. So, yeah, I feel your pain, but you're not a comic collector if you haven't gotten one of these. So if you've gotten one of these kind of packages in the mail or something even worse or crazier, put it in the live chat or put it in the comment section. Let's share the horror stories. But if you've been collecting comics as long as I have, you're going to have that routine happen to you at least once. It's a rite of passage. So without further yabba dabba do, the main comic, the other one, like I said, is basically just the throw in. They had it included in the sale, but I don't care about it because I don't think it has any significance at all. But I bought it for this book, and that is, I think, either my second or third copy of Tomb of Dracula, number 10, first appearance of Blade. Now, I paid probably a little bit below what the going rate is. I was actually kind of shocked to see the prices of these books selling in even very, very low grade. So if anybody, like I said, I want you now I'll tell you, after a pressing and dry cleaning, because it is missing a little piece there, so it's not going to be even a 5.0. It's got a dog ear, but that's not clipped, it's just bent up, so that could be adjusted and fixed. Spine is a little rolled, but that could be pressed, not major amounts. I thought that was a missing piece, but that's actually the artwork. And the edges along here are kind of rough. So I would say, just by looking at it, obviously you know me, I have to look through the whole book. But after a pressing and dry cleaning, because the rest of the book, the colors look great, I would say this is between a 3 and a 4, which would be my speculative. And again, after a pressing and dry cleaning. So things like this, where you see it's folded back, that'll get fixed. So I would say between about a 3 and a 4 grade. So let's stick around a 3.5. So I want you to tell me, and here's the throw in. They added Tomb of Dracula number 50, which just has a Silver Surfer appearance. I do not believe there is anything significant of this book. So that was part of the deal, but I bought it for this. So I want you to put now, but like I said, I don't want you to just say, well, I'd pay $100 for it. You're not getting this book for $100, even at a 0.5. If you are, that's not common. We'll put it that way. So I want you to put in the live chat if you're watching live, or in the comment section if you're watching this later, what would be the most you would have paid for this book in roughly about a 3.5 grade where you would feel comfortable. Now, if I see people putting really low prices, that's going to tell me you did not look it up. You just said, well, this is what I'd be comfortable with paying. Like I said, who wouldn't feel comfortable paying $100 for an Amazing Fantasy 15? You'd feel really comfortable, but you'll be waiting forever. You can't do it. So what I want people to do is to realistically get used to looking at values of comics. Because like I said, when I won this, I thought, after shipping and handling and taxes, I thought, well, did I overpay for this? And then I saw what people were paying for about a 2.5 and a 2.0. And I actually paid less. So GTK comic, I love you, man, but I'm going to tell you right now, a 3.5 of this book you're not getting for 175. So let me ask you, did you be honest now? Because you're a moderator, you have to lead by example. Did you look up the prices or did you just say that's the most you would pay? Because I will tell you right now, unless somebody doesn't know what they're doing, you couldn't get a 0.5 of that book for that price, 175. And that's like you said, including shipping and handling taxes, which means you probably would pay 150 and then taxes and shipping on top of it. Paradise says 300 would be a good price. I agree, but again, Paradise, I'm going to ask you, did you look that up or are you saying that based on what your instincts are telling you? Because this is what I want people to get out of the habit of. Because when you hear the price I paid, yeah, so GTK Comics says I guessed. I want you guys to get out of the guessing mode because if you don't know what the values are, you're going to miss on deals because you think maybe the price is too high, or you may pass up on a deal and not realize that the price they had it on was really low. So I want people to get out of the guesswork and I want people to look these things up and get used to that. You don't want to believe or guess, you want to know. So, okay, and again, Paradise, same thing. He said between 3 and 400 just instincts. Now I want both of you to go on eBay and look up a 2.0 that is sold on eBay, not selling, but sold. And you will see a 2.0 selling around the $300 to $400 range. Right. And so Jacob Morgan says, I just got first Ghost Rider point 0.5 for 125. So I want people to not guess, not hope, not wish, not assume, because that's how you're going to never find deals or overpay for books because you'll say, oh, that price seems too high, so it can't be a good deal, so I'm going to pass up on it. Or another time where you see a deal and you don't realize it's a deal. So Paradise says, looks like Fave is around 450 according to cover price. So I'm going to tell you, they charged me $30 in taxes and $15 in shipping. So $45 just for the shipping and handling and taxes. So with that combined, and this shows Paradise, there you go, you looked it up. I paid $460.10 for this book. Now, Paradise says looks like fair market value is around 450. Now, 450 according to what grade? A 2.0 or like I said, because this is between a 3 and a 4. So I'm assuming because I'm just looking at the front cover, I would have to look inside the book and I would have to check the back of the book as well. But this is, in my opinion, roughly around the 3.5. Now, somebody would say, oh, 460, that sounds pretty high. I thought kind of the same thing at first, but I looked it up. So, like I said, I paid about what the going rate is. When it comes to certain books, I don't mind spending fair market value. I won't overspend. And again, pressing and dry cleaning, this could come back a 4.0 or maybe even a 4.5 because, I mean, this is the most quote unquote damage. That's not bringing it down to a 1 or a 2 or even a 3. I mean, obviously, if there was nothing else, I mean, you could still get between a 6 and a 6.5, maybe even a 7 if everything else was perfect. But there's some minor things in here. Like this, even though that could be fixed because it's just bent over, it's still going to have a color break increase. So you have to have knowledge about the damage that things cause, what can be fixed. And again, the spine, there's one or two small little ticks here and there. But overall, still looks pretty good. And yeah, Paradise Comics says, amazing that book stays hot when they can't get a movie together. The thing is, most people are speculating on that it's not a matter of if, but just when. And I think in the long run, it's probably a blessing in disguise because if they were to have already made that movie the way they wanted it to, where they would have had basically a female character Blade, the usual Hollywood garbage where they just DEI it to oblivion and no one watches it. I'm glad they didn't put it out already. I'm glad it's delayed because they're still clinging on to those narratives. The longer it takes, the more time goes by to where I think even Disney will wake up and say, you know what, we can't do this stuff anymore. We wanted a script, we wanted a narrative, but it's not working. So I think the longer it's delayed, the better it will be for us fans. Because I mean, like I've always said, it's got to be real. I don't want a white guy playing Blade, just like I would not want a black guy playing Superman because Superman was a white character. So I don't want him played by another. It doesn't bring race into it. It's just that's who the character was. But I stay consistent. Blade started out and has always been a black character. So it would be a hypocrite if I said I was okay with a white guy playing him. I wouldn't want that because that's not who Blade is. And I absolutely loved Blade, which, by the way, was the first rated R comic book movie. People seem to forget that. They say Deadpool was, but that's incorrect. And they also say, oh, Black Panther was the first uh, black led movie. No, Blade was both the first rated R and the first black superhero main character in a movie. And I love those movies. Once it got to Blade 3, I mean, 2 wasn't bad, but the first one was great. I mean, 2 was good, but not as good as 1, and 3 was just where it got kind of ridiculous. But yeah, I think a lot of this is based on speculation that, you know, it may end up they eventually just reboot it and try with another actor at this point. But I mean, you can't go wrong with first appearances. So this one I didn't get a steal on, but I didn't overpay. I don't see as many of these on sale to where you can find super deals on them. So, like I said, again, the guy charged me $15 to ship it that way, which is ridiculous. And I had to pay $30 in taxes. So that added an extra $45 to it because I won it at like, I think like 415, which I'm comfortable with. And you guys know me, I'll get this pressed and dry cleaned and graded. And if it comes back even a 3.0, I'll still be happy. But I think it's going to be higher than a 3.0 based on what I'm seeing. So I have no problem with this price. But again, I don't want people to guess. If you want to succeed in any kind of investment, speculation, anything like that, you have to know. You cannot guess. Because, like I said, and this is why I'm not trying to pick on anybody, because I'm trying to get you used to it. So, GT Key, like I said, love you, man, and I appreciate you as a moderator and everything. But I just want to make sure you understand that, yes, who wouldn't have wanted to pay 175 for that book? But when you see the sales of the books, you will see that the chances of finding one at that price is going to be so low, you may wait years. And by the time it is that price, probably the movies have all been out and nobody cares about the book anymore. So yes, I would love to buy that book for 175 right now. But the market is telling us based on the sales that people are willing to spend a lot more even in low grade for this book. So if you would have saw this book for 400 and you had the mindset of, well, I'd only pay 175 for it, you would have passed up on it. If you would have looked up and seen that 2.0 books are selling for about 350, and remember, when you look on eBay and they show the sale price, they don't include the shipping and handling and they don't include the taxes. So even if you saw them have a 2.0 sold for around 350, that doesn't include the shipping costs and it doesn't include the taxes. So that 350 would be closer to 395, maybe 400, depending. So I just want people to get used to knowing about checking for deals, knowing about deals, because like I said, this one I paid about the fair market value, which is unusual for me. But like I said, the times that I will do that is when I know a book has at least potential, because nothing's guaranteed, of the book going and increasing over time. Because if that book already has value as it is with just the speculation, once Disney, and hopefully they will, they'd have to eventually, otherwise they'll go out of business. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how many times you're using these movies as tax write offs. if you burn your reputation to the point where, I mean, when I was a kid, when you heard a Disney movie was coming out, you knew it was going to be gold no matter what it was. Now, when you hear Disney's putting a movie out, you're like, oh, what garbage are they putting out now? They're destroying their reputation. Um, Business people are not stupid. So they're not doing it being oblivious to what's going on. They're doing it because they're trying to send a message. They're trying to put propaganda, and they're trying to do what all these big businesses and big corporations have been trying to do for the past going on 10 years now and have a narrative. But luckily, the majority of people are just not having it anymore. It may have worked in the beginning, but it's at the point now most of the people get it that it's garbage and nonsense, and it's showing in the pocketbook, and that's how you make change. That's why movies like Snow White are going to lose millions of dollars. So I think they can only do that for so long before even Disney says, "All right, we got to stop with this narrative. It's not working. We cannot write off every single movie as a tax deduction. We're destroying our reputation." And there's gonna be people like me who are going to be few and far between going to see Disney movies from here on out. Um, I mean, like I'll see a Deadpool movie and stuff, but the average stuff that I would have seen as a kid, like anytime a Disney movie was coming out, I was watching it because it was quality. It was good. You knew it was going to be entertaining. You knew, oh, if Disney's putting out a movie, Disney meant quality. That no longer holds the same thing anymore. But I think the longer some of these movies are delayed, because like I said, the movies that are even coming out this year, um, they already were making for years, and that DEI stuff was already in there so deep they couldn't really do much about it, even when they were trying to do reshoots. But I think once we get past this phase to where movies, even the Fantastic Four movie, that was starting production about a year or two ago when all this DEI nonsense was still mainstream. So even that one, I don't think I'm going to go to the movie theater and support. But I think once they have enough time go by, and I think give it another year, and they start making movies from that point on, I think things should get better at that point. There is no comic book fatigue. I hate when people say that. Oh, there's Marvel and DC fatigue. No, there is poor quality fatigue. I'm sure many of you will agree with that. I guarantee you, if all of a sudden they righted the ship, both Marvel and DC, because I want both of them to succeed. And the Superman one, I don't know. When they put out that first 3 minutes of it, that to me, I mean, especially you go, what is the first thing you see after you see Superman in trouble? He gets a CGI dog to rescue him and takes you into his Fortress of Solitude where there are these robots and they introduce what? A female robot. Like, who cares? Do you really care? When you're watching a Superman movie, are you sitting there before you enter the movie theater and saying, boy, I love Superman, but I really hope there's a female voiced robot in the movie. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, they're still sticking in this stupidity that just is going to make people's eyes roll. So I think they need to keep losing more money. But I want both Marvel and DC, which is run by Warner Brothers and Disney. I want them to succeed. And the only way they're going to do that is if they turn the ship around. So when it comes back to this book, Tomb of Dracula 10, they are going to be putting out a Blade movie. If they just change it to the Midnight Suns or they do it in a different way where he doesn't get his own main movie first, I'm okay with that. I think the longer it's delayed, the better chances of it being more of what we want and less of what we don't want. So I see it as a blessing in disguise, even though I would love for the movie to come out tomorrow. But would you rather have a movie come out quickly that's garbage that you don't want to watch? Or do you mind waiting 2 or 3 years and end up with something that you've always wanted to see in a rebooting or redoing or reimagining of Blade or any other characters? So I'd love to hear your comments about that. Pina says if Superman fails, Warner Brothers is in trouble. It depends, because I mean, this is what I'd say. They will be doing other Batmans. And even if Superman succeeds, if Batman fails, then Warner Brothers is in trouble. I think even if Superman does bad, they still have Batman to come along and save the day, ironically speaking. Superman, of course, is the first superhero. He's iconic. But the problem with Superman is, unless they nerf him down, I mean, basically unstoppable. So there's not much you can do. And the problem I have with the Superman already, even if it's good, Superman has more than one archenemy. And it's just like Batman. I don't, as much as I like the Joker, I don't want to see the Joker as the villain every time. Why they don't use somebody like Brainiac as a Superman villain? Like when the Injustice video game came out from Warner Brothers, the DC Injustice video game, which I never played, but I've watched many Let's Plays with the whole, the scenes of the almost seemed like a movie. How they portrayed Brainiac was incredible. I'm tired of seeing Lex Luthor over and over again. You'd think these people would be smarter than that. Superman has so many other villains that they can utilize, but they keep going back to, well, let's take the safe route. So I'm going to tell you right now, I think Superman will do okay at best. It will not lose money, but it's not going to make records. Because I'm sure many of you would probably agree with me, and I am a Superman fan, that you're tired of seeing Lex Luthor as the villain. Now, there could be other villains in there, I don't know. But I'd like to see a Superman movie where Lex Luthor isn't in it. And Supermar says, "Yeah, well, I'm tired of Marvel." Nothing wrong with that. I've been tired with Marvel the past can't say 2 seasons, but 2 phases because they're putting out garbage. They're putting out DEI nonsense. But I guarantee you, if they write their track and they make, like, for example, another Captain America Winter Soldier, or they make another Endgame, people are going to come back. But I can understand where people are tired of it because it's lazy writing, it's DEI narrative nonsense, and it's just here. They think we're dumb. They're like, "Oh, here's another movie. You're going to come whether you like it or not." No, we're not, and it shows in the box office receipts. Quality over quantity. So I can totally respect that you're saying you're tired of Marvel. I'm sure many people will agree with that. But I'm sure if things got back on track and they stopped with this garbage, and I think that's not going to happen until the next phase, not even this phase that's happening now, but the next phase when they're actually starting movies and TV shows from scratch. I think once they actually start listening to the real fans instead of berating them all the time, which is absolutely so narcissistic of them, um, I think the ship will eventually, it has to turn. Because it's like, it's like the universe, everything in balance. Right now it's scaling one way, but starting to tilt and even out. I just don't want it to go to the extreme. You can have strong female characters. I have no problem with Wonder Woman. I would never want a man to play Wonder Woman. I don't want to see a man play Emma Frost. I want to make sure the character as it was created, that's what I want to see. If you want, for example, a strong African American character, well, you have Blade, you have Falcon, you have Luke Cage, you have many others, or you can create a new one. I mean, stop utilizing something else and say, "Oh, we're just going to swap it and people will love it." No, they won't. Just like I would not want, like I said, I don't want a white actor to play Blade. It's that simple. You either agree in all aspects or you agree with none. Because you can't say it one way and then be okay with it another way, because that's being hypocritical. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Let's give a shout out to 2 of the people in the live chat. So we're going to go with Solitude Guard, and we're also going to go with Ryozo. And you know what? Cohen Game, I'm sorry, Cohen Graham, since you were the first one here, if you are still here, all three of you are going to be today's surprise subscriber shout outs. What that means is once this video uploads in the comment section, you could put a link to either your YouTube channel if you have one and you make videos, your social network link instead, if you prefer to do that. Or if you have an eBay store or sell on Amazon or Etsy or anything, if you want to post a link to one of your stores, by all means, please do. Does not have to be comic book related, but that will work best here because this is a comic book channel. But I'm not going to promote things like prank channels or somebody selling adult content like pornography or adult toys. I'm not going to promote those kind of things, but I'm sure you'll understand that. So, um, make sure when you post a link, introduce yourself. Tell people, well, if you click on this link, it's going to take you to my YouTube channel. So I hope you'll check it out and subscribe. Just don't put a link. Give people a reason why they want to click that link. Also, keep in mind that to eliminate all trolls and spammers, your links will all go initially into spam because I will verify each one to make sure it is kid friendly. So don't get discouraged if you hit enter on the comment and it doesn't show up. I will check it, and if it is where you say it's going to go to, I will approve it. So if you do see a link in the comment section, it means it has been verified and We Love Comics approved. So go check them out. Go show them some support. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let me know what you think. Did I get a good deal on this? You think I paid a fair amount? Are you a person that just guesses on what prices, or did you actually look up the prices? Get yourself in that habit so you don't miss out on opportunities or you don't overpay on something because you assumed it was going to be higher. Things fluctuate. If you're not sticking around and not and using your knowledge, you're going to get burned more times than you're going to succeed. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. And don't forget, it is not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next video. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Let me know what you think about the AI art. And again, if you want to support me on Patreon and get your name up and shouted out every single video, just go to patreon.com/We Love Comics. We get to 20 or more people within a 1 month period. There's giveaways I'm giving away. So thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. I look forward to reading your comments.